So Mark, let's talk about pricing. I know
Sure.
there's so many people that have a hard time, business owners and salespeople alike. They always tend to feel beat down as soon as the customer says, no, that's too expensive. So have you been in situations, I know you're kind of a premium provider in your industry, where someone says, hey, your competition is so much less. How do you handle that?
I typically handle it right up front. So when somebody's calling on us or I'm interfacing with a client, one of my questions that I do early on is, what kind of a budget do you have? And I find out a little bit about what's important to them in the decision-making process. And this is all part of the qualification stage in the sales process to determine whether or not I want to interface or work with that person.
If you find out in the beginning that it doesn't look like they can afford it, or they're
Right.
kind of hedging on it, or they say to you, you tell me the price.
Sure.
I have no idea how much this would cost.
Right. Well, a great example is I was called by Orange County Airport, John Wayne Airport, and they needed 3 bids for EPA applications of monitoring some of the pollutants. And I said, well, who are you looking at? Praxair, Airgas, and you. Okay, so basically the only other 2 competitors in the area. Well, I know that they're half my price. So of course I said, and what's important to you in this decision-making process? Well, we need the lowest cost. Great. And when you say cost, you got to quantify it. What does that mean to you? I'm going to give you a per unit pricing, and I need the lowest price on that per unit basis. And there I say, absolutely not, because I will be twice as much as those companies, and therefore I will not bid it. So I tend to deal with it right up front. Now, if they said they have other needs and they need to make sure that there's responsiveness and that local delivery and local manufacturing and all these other things are important, well, then I might be able to compete. But if it comes down to that type of a scenario, I'm a premium provider. I am not going to be the lowest cost unit on the block, not a long
really
shot.
interesting. So you're going to ask right up front, are you going to make your decision on price?
Correct.
And if you are, I'm going to be twice as expensive as the other ones, so I'm not even going to waste my time bidding on it.
Correct.
And you're fine walking away from that. You don't get all starry-eyed and go, oh wow, John Wayne Airport.
Nope, not at all, because there's a lot of customers who need the service, the support, the knowledge base at a local level, and that's what we're there to provide. We are more of a relationship with the customer. Somebody like the larger multinational corporations, you can order the product if you know exactly what you want, but don't look for any support, no technical support. You're going to have an 800 number to call, and you're probably going to get somebody out of country. That's not what we're about. And for that, there's a premium associated with it. And we hope that the premium certainly is more beneficial than the cost associated with it.
Okay. And is there a technique you use? You're saying if you kind of go through that.
Well, that's typically what I'll deal with up front. But if at the end I get to the point and they said, look, you're just too expensive, well, then there is a technique that you can use to go through that process. First you want to identify, well, how much too expensive am I? So that you can bring that down. So let's say it's my unit's 1,000, the competition's at 800. So how much too expensive are we? Well, it's $200. Okay, so now you've captured that $200. So now you took $1,000 in the customer's mind, and now you've reduced it to just a couple $100. And then you want to know from the customer, well, do you see more value in our organization? I do. What things are of more value to you? Well, you have customer service, you have this, you have that. If my technician has a problem, they can just call you and you can usually solve those problems. And then you can begin data gathering back through the process. Okay, well, what is that, how often does that happen with your technicians? Oh, that can happen 10 times a month. And the fact that we're able to solve those problems quickly, what do you pay how often is your technician dealing with that, or over what period of time? Oh, it takes him like 6 or 7 hours if he can't get the answers. Okay, well, how much do you pay him per hour? Well, now all of a sudden, so you're paying for 6 or 7 hours, $30 an hour. Doesn't that close that $200 gap, and aren't we more beneficial at that point? So you use their perspective to show value within your product line, and then you overcome that price objective that way.
I love what you did. You asked questions through the whole
Correct.
process, and you had them thinking through their own decision-making process and how they valued things. And you didn't impose anything on them.
No.
I love it. Thank you.
Sure.
That's how a master does it.